Hello, welcome to another video by Indicator Vault. My name is Ronald, and in today's video we are going over the supply demand reversals indicator here on Tradingview. And before I get too far into it, let me just bring up the settings really quick. And you can see these first three boxes up here at the top, and you can obviously check them for however you want yours to appear. One of the more important ones, and we're going to go over this, is this middle one, show only first rectangles. And if you have that on, it's just going to show you the most recent buy and sell zones. It's going to have those two marked up. And if you have it unchecked, it's going to show you all previous ones within the past 200 candles. That's the look back period here. And so what this essentially does is, as you can see, I've got the Australian dollar 4-hour chart here, is it's marking out supply and demand zones that are high probability for, basically reversals like its name, but that they, for instance here, this demand zone that broke high, but then it got invalidated. It was not respected to the upside. However, this zone still holds relevance for the downside. And as we can see here, although this is getting kind of a little bit sloppy, messy price action, but this zone here is still going to be holding relevance for the upside if it trades above it, right? We can see it's a supply zone that's broken, and while, maybe we could expect more downside without it retesting it or breaking above it, right now this is going to be a relevant zone for a buy, even if it breaks above it and invalidates the supply zone. But we're just going to dissect some of this price action and go over some ways you can use this. And now, while we can see here that price has poked into this zone and shown, a willingness to go lower, I'm actually going to go into some examples here up higher. And so let's going to put lines on the low of this candle and the opening of it, and we're going to go into a lower time frame to kind of dissect what we could be looking for with this indicator. But again, I want to point out, I found this example because right now it is a textbook one. This demand, with price going above this candle, but then gets disrespected, but it is still holding relevance to the downside, which right now we are seeing a reaction from the zone. However, this zone, it's still in play, and I wanted to mark out this supply candle, the highest, the beefiest body of the supply candle inside of this zone. And so if price is coming back up here, I am expecting this area to be highly sensitive to price, probably even more for the downside movement. And so many times, even though we're playing this as a reversal, where price moved up, created a new higher high, but now we're expecting lower lows to be formed, we can also correlate supply zones inside of this broken demand zone. And so we want overlapping confluences. And if we draw from this entire zone, see how the equilibrium mark lines up perfectly with the low of this candle, of this supply zone. So we can expect this price level to be a highly sensitive area and probably give us some good trade setups right here. The equilibrium, the 50% mark, of supply and demand zones are going to be the most sensitive levels to trade from. So we can see that right there. All right, so now we're on the lower time frame. We're on the 15-minute time frame. You can see here, these are still the two yellow lines that I marked, the low of that 4-hour supply zone and the opening price of it. And we can see this in play right now. But let me bring up the previous zones. So I unclick that. And now it's showing all, the most recent zones within the look back period. And let's just see how some of these played out. We can see the zone formed here, dipped into it, went up, dipped into it again, did make a higher high. But what do we have here? We have this demand that caused this move up, but now broken. However, it's still a relevant zone to trade from, just from the opposite side. So we can see it dips into it, makes a lower low, comes up, back into it again, does poke above it, but then totally crashes down right here. Now, one thing I want to point out with this, remember, it's a reversal supply and demand. And so many times, let me actually bring up the most recent one down here and just dissect this one here. So this is kind of going to get into the nitty gritty of it, but look, even though this is some consolidation, you could argue, however, this price action here is in a downtrend. A small one, yes, but a downtrend. It makes a lower low and then another lower low with lower highs along the way. And so we see the buy signal form here, basically saying, okay, this is now going to hold for an upside movement, right? This downtrend is going to be over and is going to make a move up, which we see happen. Now, obviously, we see another hard fall, but this signal did its job. It marked out where price is going to go higher and actually take out all the highs of the downtrend. You can see right there, all these highs. It marked out a reversal from the most recent trend, and we see a new high created that took out all of the highs of the downtrend. And now we see here the sell after this up move that created a new higher high. Now it's saying, okay, it's going to push and create a new lower low, which we see that in these 3 strong down moves. So with that in mind, remember our higher time frame markup. We are looking for a possible sell from this supply zone on the 4-hour, right? So obviously as price moves around, and obviously, may not even get up here, anytime soon. But once it comes up here, we've got our higher time frame zone marked out. We can expect, maybe not necessarily these zones to hold any relevance, because a lot of these have already played out and made their moves. But what we could expect is once prices reaches up here into our 4-hour sell zone, to maybe see something similar like this, where a new lower time frame sell signal is formed. So for instance, maybe an up move into here, another down move, and as it's moved down, we could get the supply reversal zone forming somewhere inside of our higher time frame zone, and then we see another impulsive move down just like that. And so that's just some, tips of how to view and filter out some price action with this indicator, the supply demand reversal zones. Just a very simple top-down analysis. I mean, really with just two time frames here, the 4-hour and the 15-minute, and just some patterns and price action to look out for. Going back to the 4-hour. Again, we believe this here is going to hold very significant relevance to price action, with it being the supply candle that's inside of this broken demand, but still holding relevance. And then on top of that, the 50% mark, equilibrium of the zone, is right at the bottom of here. So as the lower time frames start to maybe creep back up into here, and you see this is just this little simple pattern I drew out, we could see a fresh sell zone form up here and look for a stronger move down that would validate, the 4-hour pattern, the 4-hour sell signal. So anyway, that's the supply demand reversals indicator. And I hope this video was helpful. And until next time, best of luck trading.